Raleigh, North Carolina, what is good? Whew. It is a delight to be here, to be back in your lovely city, in your lovely state, to discuss more books with you all. It has been a minute. I'm delighted to be back. Oh, that's just a car outside. Okay. It's like, who else is talking? I'm the only one with the microphone, but I'm very excited to be back. It has been a lovely time here thus far. Took the Amtrak in, didn't do as much exploring, but I will be doing more exploring tomorrow. Very excited about that. But I spent the day prepping for the show, doing other work stuff, seeing a little bit of sights and sounds, but also getting food at the place next door, which rips. Shout out to the people who suggested me and my guest to go there because it was fantastic. I've hyped up that we've got a guest. We do have a very special guest, someone who has done far more exploring of Raleigh, and I feel like they are more of the expert to describe their day of how it's been. So let's make some noise for tonight's guest, Kevin McKain! Hello, 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 hello. You all will have probably heard that I hit the k in McKain really hard because I misspelled Kevin's name, as I've done a couple of times, because it's McKain, not the traditional MCC. But the problem is I have my iPhone set to where if I have a nickname for someone in my contacts, it displays their nickname, and your nickname in my phone is your username that you utilize on social media and everything. So yeah. I don't often see your last name. The only times I type it are when I am having you as a guest for a live show, and I'm 2 for 2 and messing it up.
That is accurate.
So let the record show that every time he says Schubert tonight, there's no C in it to make it even. But how are you? You had a proper day in Raleigh. How was your proper day in Raleigh?
Oh, it was so exciting. I will say, as someone who grew up in the state of Texas and travels to New York a lot, the first 2 things I saw coming into town was a Texas steakhouse.
Okay.
Followed immediately by a New York slice of pizza.
Oh, it's probably good.
It's probably
really good.
As good as those 2 things promise.
I don't think it was in... I think it was when Kelly and I were going around Charlotte yesterday, and we passed a bagel place that was like, best bagels in town. And I was like, maybe in town, but...
yeah, no. But no, it was fantastic. Stopped by some like beautiful bookshops. There is a place, and I wrote down the name so I could remember it.
Yeah, cool shout out to small local independent businesses.
There was a place called Curate. If you haven't been to Curate, some beautiful art. Went to Little Native Coffee Co. Fantastic coffee. And then just around the corner, Blackbird Books and Coffee. Fantastic times. And while on that trek, I found dinosaurs. There are 3 dinosaurs hidden in your town. I don't know if you're aware.
Is there a reason for it, or is it just pure, it's cool, so we have dinosaurs?
The Science Museum, they're doing a big thing.
The Science Museum is doing a big thing for...
They've got fossils, and they're talking about...
They have fossils. So it's like it's a temporary exhibit.
Well, 5 years.
5 years, temporary. Look, we're dealing with Greek gods today, where it's very 5 years is very temporary for them.
Yeah, 5 years short amounts of time.
That is very cool, though.
It was exciting. And yeah, just exploring. Then you showed up, and we explored.
Yes, we explored a little, namely just getting from our hotel at undisclosed location to the venue. But it was good, and it was a very cute walk, and it was fun. Yeah, a fun little jaunty day to pair with these Tartarus chapters. So what we're going to be covering today are chapters 40 through 42 of The House of Hades. So that will involve a little bit of Tartarus and a little bit of not Tartarus. But don't worry, because the vibes in both settings are really bad. So they share that in common. Now, where we last left our heroes, who were discussing at the beginning, since it's an Annabeth chapter, Annabeth had just done the whole thing where her and Percy went with Bob to Damison the Giant for him to heal Percy. They did the whole thing where he fights the Draken, learned his backstory and all that kind of stuff.
We also get to meet Little Bob.
Small Bob. A perfect tiny angel who I enjoy so much. And if there was any reason to make Heroes of Olympus into something, it's so that we can get Small Bob representation, Small Bob merchandise. It's a thing. I don't know if there's a term for these, but I've seen them. I'm not a Disney adult by any means. I go rather infrequently, but we did go when we were in LA for the Percy Jackson premiere and stuff. And a new crop, because obviously they've been doing the ears for years and years, but something that I saw was people doing like shoulder friends with like little magnets underneath. So you can have like a little, there were a bunch of ones. The best one I saw though was Angel Kronk and Devil Kronk on each
I
shoulder.
have this one.
Is there a term for these? Is it just called like
they're shoulder
friends?
buddies.
Shoulder buddies. Okay.
Absolutely. And I got them because I don't know if you remember last time I was on this podcast, I did a Patrick Warburton impression.
Yes, you do a very good Patrick Warburton impression, and the key is
Kermit
you're
the Frog.
Oh, look, they're in the same. Vein.
Yeah, those are the same.
No, but
people.
they're in the same, like because it's Cusco's poison, the poison from Cusco, and then you just go a little more like Kermit the Frog. Like they're in the deep throat area.
Sure about that.
But you have the better Patrick Warburton overall because you are the size and stature of Patrick Warburton.
Sure.
So you,
This is great for everyone listening to the audio. They can tell the difference between our heights for sure.
Look, it's important context so that people stop leaving me comments and say, I didn't think Mike would look like that. His voice is deep, so he can't be lanky. That's how voices work. Anyway, we're going to be talking about some chapters and such. This is your second time on the podcast, I believe?
Second, but I also wrote questions for some old podcast stuff.
Okay, yes.
So 2.5.
Namely, I've only ever asked you the one guest question.
That is accurate.
How did you discover the books and stuff? But for your second one, what cabin would you be in?
I was worried you would ask me this question.
Deep. You can continue to stall because I do have to give a shout out to, on the subreddit today, user Chef of Games, Chef with 2 Fs, said just very simply, has Mike ever called the guest question the Guestion? Which is really good. It's really good.
From now on, it is the Guestion. Do I get the first ever Guestion?
You get this is the first time it's the Guestion.
I love that.
I think Guestion because you don't say
Yeah.
Guestion, it feels better.
Guestion.
Yeah, if I say Guestion, it feels like I'm asking Sherry a question.
Sure.
Question. The Guestion.
Yes, the Guestion, as it were. Gosh, here's the thing. I feel like being in a cabin full of outsiders who don't really fit in feels a little me vibes.
Okay, so going with Hermes.
So I'm going with Hermes.
I like it. I think that works. I think that's very fun.
Yeah.
And you are certainly good at traveling. You do quite often for many things, so I think it works quite well. I also want to give a shout out to the woman who ran security at the last show, Tammy, was phenomenal. Was anyone at the show last night? I think yes. Okay, did you get to meet Tammy? Tammy, who, it was fun because we did the show like a comedy club, and Tammy comes in and is like, hi, I'm head of security. She is wearing a bulletproof vest. And she was very on top of it, telling me the whole thing. I was like, Tammy, we're a bunch of nerds. Nothing's going to happen. And she was like, but what about after the show? Like meet and greet stuff, blah, blah, blah. I was like, Tammy, it's going to be super chill. She was very on top of her game. But then when she found out that it was a Percy Jackson show, she was very excited because she loves the TV show. Not sure if she read the books, but she was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun. So then I believe she asked everybody what their cabin was when they entered. Asked everybody what their cabin was, and then took tallies of who won. Hades' cabin won, and she was a little disappointed by it. She, I believe, was Poseidon along with me, where she was talking about licking the beach and the water and the ocean and everything. And then it was good for her for security purposes, because there was one person at the show that she was like unsure of, to make sure everything was okay, because when she asked what cabin, they didn't have an answer. And she was like, my red flag went up. How do you come to this show not knowing the answer to that? So like it all came back around. She also took phenomenal photos. If people were like trying to get a photo on stage or whatever after, she was like, give me your phone. And then everyone was like, this is a great photo, Tammy. So Tammy was killing it. Shout out to Tammy. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So this chapter is 40, which the Roman numerals are XL, which is always very cool. And this is Annabeth. It opens with, quote, Annabeth awoke staring at the shadows dancing across the hut's ceiling. She hadn't had a single dream that was so unusual. She wasn't sure if she'd actually woken up. And I think it's fun that her dreams are basically like, you're in Tartarus. Things are bad enough. You don't need to have scary dreams. Take a load off. Get some rest.
I mean, here's the thing. They're so far into Tartarus, I don't think the gods responsible... Yes.
They're so fartarus into Tartarus.
So fartarus into Tartarus. That the gods in charge of sleep and dreams feel like just don't have domain.
Morpheus is like, I can't reach it. It's out of service. It's too far. I'm going to have to...
Yeah.
It's like international calling to get there. No way. I don't want to pay the extra. Yeah. The other thing, what it probably is that the plot has developed enough where we don't need her to see the future. And also, Jason just had a dream about the future a couple of chapters ago. So I feel like there's a book reason. But... also, I will have to say that this is something that I could relate to because when I took the Amtrak over today, I was trying to read and take notes and prep for the show, and I just like got hit with a real sudden wave of tiredness and just like completely like conked out and then woke up and it was like, the train's at the end of the line, you have to get off the train. And normally when I fall asleep on Amtrak trains, it's like every single stop, will kind of like wake up, be like, this is in Raleigh, okay, and go back to sleep. But this was like, boom, wake up, and it was like, get off the train. So I understand just like the really, and I felt very refreshed. So I feel like I had that Annabeth type of the good sleep. Now, she's still laying down when she hears Percy snoring next to her and small Bob purring on her stomach, and then she also hears large Bob and Damison deep in conversation. This is how the exchange goes. Damison says, you haven't told her. Bob says, no, she's already scared. Damison says she should be, and if you cannot guide them past night, and the way he said it, it was like a proper noun, capital N, night, and also said like a scary name to be afraid of. So I feel like this is the death mist woman that's kind of been hinted at. Your chapter is intact. Bob says, I have to, and then Damison wonders, what have the demigods ever done to you? What have they given you? Why are you doing this for them? They deleted your past memories from you. They've changed your identity from a Titan being the standard issue Titan, someone who hates the gods and their kin. Now you're someone who aids the gods and their kin. What's the deal? Why are you helping them? But Bob counters asking, well, why did you heal Percy? Giants are supposed to be just like Titans. You're supposed to hate gods and their children, so you're one to talk. Damison admits, look, I'm not sure. Maybe it's that Annabeth goaded me into it. Maybe it's that I find these two very fascinating because if they made it this far, they are clearly a resilient bunch, and I admire that. I find that to be admirable. But he does declare that helping them is not their fate, and Bob asks, do you like your fate? And then Damison goes, does anyone like their fate? It's a real fun chat between these two.
Which is the most Tartarus thing to say, right? Like, no one in Tartarus is like, wow, this is where I wanted to end up.
I just want to be in eternal torment my whole life.
Can't wait to kill that dragon again.
Oh, yeah. Here I go. Every day. I got to do it once a day.
Which leads to, I think, Bob's best quote.
Ooh.
Which
like
is,
being Bob?
I like being Bob.
He said, I like being Bob. Then he starts to say, before I started to remember, but then there's a shuffling noise outside, which soon after stops. Bob asks Damison if he remembers the sun, and Damison says that he does. He remembers it being beautiful. Bob says that he misses the sun and the stars. And I said, good luck, Bob. That's great news for you because there is a book coming out in a couple of years in your time of publication called The Sun and the Stars. So you can read that one. And I think I know what that book's about now, given what happened a couple of chapters ago.
I have to say, the way that he recalls what the sun looks like is the wildest way to remember a thing.
Do you have the quote?
Yeah. Do you remember the sun? Yeah. It was yellow. Which is like someone asking, like, oh, do you remember Kevin? Yeah, tall. And that's it.
You would be surprised at how many people do describe humans like that.
I will tell you, as me, I know plenty of my friends who they're like, no, like, tall. You would know.
I mean, look, it is yellow. It is yellow. This does, I don't know if anyone else has young children in the crowd or is familiar with the book Go Dog Go. Yes. So you would be familiar with the page in Go Dog Go, because Go Dog Go is one of those like very simple, easy reader books where it's just like a blue dog and a red tree, a red dog and a blue tree, one big dog going in, one small dog going out. Like it's very good for like teaching young kids how to read. But there's at one point where there's the sun. The dog says like, it is hot under the yellow sun. But that sun in that book is orange, like clear as day orange. And every time I read it to my daughter, I feel like I'm lying to her because the text says the sun is yellow, but that sun says I am orange. So I usually read it, I go, the sun is yellow, the sun is orange.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
And then if you read The Day the Crayons Quit, the orange and the yellow crayon have a big argument about who is the real color of the sun. Is it yellow or is it orange? Because Duncan, the kid who has the crayons, sometimes colors it yellow and sometimes colors it orange.
This sounds like intense drama.
The Day the Crayons Quit is very serious, and there's a whole big argument between the yellow and the orange crayon. Green crayon has to try to interject to get them to stop fighting. Then in the sequel book, they return. I won't say how they return because it's a fun little plot twist kind of thing, but their beef comes back in The Day the Crayons Come Home, the sequel book.
In that trap door.
I got to. Well,
You got to.
Everyone should have the joy. There's just, with certain children's books, there is such joy of the surprise of it. Like the first time you read it, we just were gifted by Kelly's mom one of the Piggy and Elephant books, which is a great set of books. And there's one called We Are in a Book, and it's about those main characters just being like, we're in a book, huh? What? And there's like a big plot twist at the very end, which makes one of the earlier pages make a whole lot of sense. And I don't want to say exactly what it is because the first time you get to see what it is, it's such a cool like, and that's really important for a children's book because the first time you read it, you want to really enjoy it because you soon will read it 7,000 times. So you gotta, I don't want to take away that first experience from anyone.
Sure. I can't wait for Michael Schubert and the Crown Box.
Ooh. Oh, and you
podcast.
say crown. Ooh.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Kelly's
Crayola crayon.
Yes, that's literally, look, you don't call it like Crowla, it's Crayola crayon.
Sure.
Kelly's another, she says like crown, and I'm like, Kelly, we have to teach our daughter the right way to say words. Words mean things. Pronunciations exist. Crayola crayon. Duh. Crayon. It's a crayon.
Yeah.
It's not a... Anyway, Percy Jackson.
And Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson.
Anyway, Percy Jackson. So, do I remember the sun? Yeah, dude. The sun's yellow. Bob says that he wants to say hi to the sun again and to the stars again. Damison also remembers the stars and how gorgeous they were, but he brushes this aside as useless talk, which they cannot have. And then the Draken roars, causing Percy to wake up and go, what, huh, what, where, what? Annabeth tells him it's okay. He's incredibly confused as he comes to his senses and realizes where he is and who he is amongst. And then Annabeth asks, how much do you remember? And he says, demon grandmothers, and that's about it. Damison says they have no time to chat. The Draken is back, and he worries that this time the roar will attract the defeated ones. Ooh.
Which this dragon has been roaring daily for all of eternity?
Yes. I think the difference is that the demigods are here and they know, and they have been talking about how the defeated ones are hot on their pursuit. So I think they're just kind of doing the math of like how long it would take them to catch up when they are no longer moving at all. I think that's what it is. So I think it's more that the defeated ones have not been to this part of Tartarus because it is very much like the discarded place. This is truly like Tartarus exile. This is deep, deep. No one wants to be here at Tartarus.
Yeah, for sure.
So then Damison gives Percy and Annabeth Draken leather satchels with clothes, food, and drink in there. And then Bob has one too, but it's bigger. And when I first read this, I misread it. I thought Small Bob had a little tiny pack. And I feel like he should have that. If Big Bob gets a big pack, tiny little Bob, Small Bob needs a tiny little Draken leather pack with little food and little snacks and little water.
And when they get to that season of the show, I'm sure you will be able to pitch that.
I will get in. I will be a creative consultant for the one episode. What was your contribution to the show? I said Small Bob should have a tiny little bag. How cute would that be? How cute would that be? Rick, hire me. So, Annabeth sees Bob looking at her in this way like he's trying to process Damison asking him why he is helping the demigods. And then Annabeth has a brain blast about the prophecy of the seven. She tells Damison that he must come with them. Quote, the prophecy says foes bear arms to the doors of death. I thought it meant Romans and Greeks, but that's not it. The line means us, demigods, a titan, a giant. We need you to close the doors, which I think is very creative. And it does feel like it it could be legit given that it is foes plural. So it can't just be Bob. That would be foe. Though now, if we have a second foe, we would have foes plural, and those foes could bear arms to the doors of death.
And that sounds like the perfect title for a great food place. The Foes of Death.
The Foes of Death.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I will say, for those who have never experienced Mike reading these books for the first time, not only did Mike make an audible sound whenever the cat thing was a possibility, but
Big gasp.
Mike specifically says, "Oh, foes, doors of death," which was a beautiful moment.
I'm very much like Bob when I have the realization.
And then types out the notes.
Type. Exactly. So Damison insists that his curse is here and his curse is inescapable. Annabeth says that he can break it. She tells him not to fight the dragon, but to instead try something new and to break the cycle. And this feels like what you do in a time loop movie. This is very Groundhog Day. This is very the Andy Samberg one, Palm Springs. Like, this feels like one of those things where you try to snap out of it, and I like it. I think she's on the right train of thought here.
Yeah, and he just isn't there yet.
No,
you know?
he's
like, can't be, couldn't
Yeah.
be. I've been doing this for forever. Let's keep doing it.
He just likes that consistency, and we'll see how these things go, but I personally, and I won't look because I don't want anyone to give it away and all the trapdoors are intact, but I feel like he's coming back. I feel like this is going to be like, oh, we don't think he's coming, but then he's coming. That's where I'm at. But Damison says, even if he could never leave this swamp, as it is the only place that he can picture. And Annabeth says that there is another destination. She tells him to look at her face and remember it. Quote, when you're ready, come find me. We'll take you to the mortal world with us. You can see the sunlight and stars. And I feel like he will eventually get ready. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
I love that the way that she describes finding her is like you would train a crow.
Look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me. Remember me. Here's shiny. Which I guess happens in reverse. He gives the shiny
Correct.
to her after that. But no, it's a really fun moment, and I love calling it a swamp. It's like just, hey, get out of here. Very Shrek.
Was that your Shrek impression?
No.
Okay, I was like...
Yeah.
It's like Shrek
Get out of here.
I was like, that is very different from Shrek. You know,
Vaguely East Coast Shrek for some reason.
You know, Shrek is always walking here. Yeah. So the dragon is close. Annabeth then hears Polybites bellow, the sea god's son, he is close. I'm so glad Polybites is back. I really needed more from him. I'm so delighted that he has returned. Percy says, Annabeth, that's our cue to leave. And then Damison does something really cool. He gives Annabeth this, what appears to be like a toothpick when he hands it to her because he's so large. But then by the time it gets down to Annabeth, she realizes, oh, this is a sword. It is a dragon bone bladed sword. It's a very simple blade, looks very, very sharp, and then just kind of has a simple leather wrapping at the bottom. But that is the sword. And he says, one last gift for the child of Athena. I cannot have you walking to your death unarmed. Now go before it is too late. Feels very action movie, very cool. Also feels like if you're playing a D&D campaign and you get like the plot sword, which feels very powerful. If this was in Baldur's Gate 3, I'm sure it would have all these cool power-ups and cool added bonus effects and stuff like that. This feels like a late game sword. And for her, no longer having her bronze dagger, she needs some sort of weapon. So Annabeth Bone Sword, pretty cool.
Kind of cool.
Very cool.
I will say, the way that Annabeth describes it is like such a statement to how warrior-like Annabeth is. Ooh. It's honed to a deadly edge just by looking at the blade. She's like, I know about this, which is fantastic. Also, because of 2 live shows ago, there was a connection to the musical version of Percy Jackson.
2 live show episodes ago, or the ones that I did in Atlanta?
Did
yeah, right. Because I
days
streamed it on the internet, and then the stream had some issues with it, but the replay is coming soon, and there are no issues with the replay. Yay!
But
Hey, it's Mike from the future here. Mike from the past is correct. The replay of that live show we're talking about is available right now over on the TNO Patreon shop. So head on over to thenewsolumpia.com/Patreon, go to the shop portion, and then you can get access to it. If you had purchased a stream ticket, you will have already received an email with a download link for free. So you can check that out because not all of the stream was on the stream, but everything was recorded in the replay. And it looks great, crystal clear picture, good sound, and there's a mystery at the end. Ooh. So if you want to see the video version of the big Nico reveal live show that we did, head on over to the Patreon. But otherwise, here's the rest of the podcast.
In that live show, it made me think about the musical specifically, and when she notices it's a sword, I play the same audio. A toothpick. No, a sword.
Yeah, the pen. Sword! Yeah, that's such
same
a fun
moment.
part. Yep, that's really good. That's really good. Those are my favorite parts of the musical. So good, so good. So she's got this cool new bone sword. Annabeth wants to cry because she knows that Damison is meant to fight alongside them, but he turns away, and I think he's going to return. But that's just me. Bob says they gotta go. Small Bob climbs on his shoulder. Percy agrees with Bob that they gotta go, and then chapter 40 ends with the following quote: "They ran for the entrance. Annabeth didn't look back as she followed Percy and Bob into the swamp, but she heard Damison behind them shouting his battle cry at the advancing Draken, his voice cracking with despair as he faced his old enemy yet again. Maybe that despair means he's questioning his current decision and he'll have second thoughts about it. That's where I'm at. But that is the end of chapter 40, which I've retitled "A Giant Gives Us His Toothpick." What have you retitled chapter 40?
I have two, both somewhat double entendre. Facing enemies again. Both with the ending of enemies yet again, but also the realization of, oh wait, the giants, there are enemies, but we have to team up with them.
Like it.
Secondly, a change of perspective. Ooh. It is the first time that we rethink the prophecy. Oh. We change our perspective on it. And that is all I have to say.
I like it. Don't worry, because in this next chapter, it's going to happen again. You don't have to wait very long for a perspective change. Now, this is chapter 41, which is titled Piper. We will obviously retitle it. It opens with, me and my notes going, Piper! Because I think this is the first time she narrated this book. I don't think she's been a narrator in this one yet. Has she? Flip, 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 flip. You flip and confirm as I continue with the opening line of the chapter, which is, quote, "Piper didn't know much about the Mediterranean, but she was pretty sure it wasn't supposed to freeze in July."
Accurate.
Yeah! I hope that audio made its way into the microphone, the page flipping. If not, let me do a little mid-episode ASMR mic. I wonder what my audio cleanup software is going to do with that. People on the podcast are like, nothing, and it sounded like nothing. So, yeah, I feel like Mediterranean probably not supposed to freeze in July. No, I don't need to pull up like historical weather charts to confirm that one.
My question in general is, look, I'm from Texas, then San Francisco,
Yes.
then Nashville.
Yes.
Famously, cold oceans not existing in those places. Can oceans freeze? I feel like I've seen photos of like where it like hit. Well, sure, like up. But I'm saying like breaking onto land, right? Like.
I'm Googling, can the ocean freeze? And thanks to the NOAA National Ocean Service website, ocean water freezes at a lower temperature than fresh water. It says at least 50% of the ocean is covered by sea ice some part of the year. Ocean water freezes just like fresh water, but at lower temperatures. Fresh water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but seawater freezes at about 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit because of the salt in it. When seawater freezes, however, the ice contains very little salt because only the water part freezes. It can be melted down to use as drinking water. At least 15% of the ocean is covered by sea ice some part of the year. On average, sea ice covers almost 10 million square miles of the Earth. Seawater becomes more and more dense as it becomes colder, right down to its freezing point. Fresh water, on the other hand, is most dense while still at 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit, well above the freezing point. The average temperature of all ocean water is 38.3 degrees Fahrenheit.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to the National Ocean Service. Please get funded again. God.
How will we know about oceans?
How will we know? How will we know? Anyway, Stoke Piper's back. She's not stoked at how cold it is. Now, apparently, they are on the sea. It has been 2 days after their adventure in Split, Croatia. The sky just has become completely engulfed in clouds. The waves have grown very rough, so much so that the water is spraying the deck and then forming ice on the rails and the ropes. So super duper cold. Now, Nico thinks that this has to be the scepter causing the problems, and Piper thinks, okay, maybe. She also thinks that something big happened on Jason and Nico's little journey. Yeah, kind of big. Nico and Jason apparently have been acting very cagey and awkward ever since they returned, and Jason feels like he's keeping something from Piper, so she is thinking that something is up. Now, Piper thinks that the scepter changing the weather does make sense because the black orb on top of the scepter seems to just suck the color out of the sky around it. And in general, it just gives off bad vibes that she doesn't like. Now, Coach Hedge was instantly spooked by it. He apparently ran back to his room immediately to watch Chuck Norris videos to calm down after seeing it, which feels very Coach Hedge.
So Coach Hedge.
Very Hedge.
It does bring up the question, in the Percy Jackson universe, does the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny exist? The song in which Chuck Norris fights a bunch of Power Rangers and Godzilla and...
Who is the artist of this song?
Lemon Demon? Anyone?
Neil, the guy who did Potter Puppet Pals.
Yeah.
Neil Cicierega.
And this is like huge 14 years ago.
Okay.
And in the end... Close your ears if you don't want spoilers for a song. At the end, Chuck Norris eventually gets taken down by the guy who had a neighborhood, Mr. Rogers.
Oh, he is the ultimate fighter.
He is.
Yeah. Ooh, I gotta check this out.
Anyways.
I'm familiar with a lot of Neil's stuff, but I didn't know about this one. My favorite one is the one he did where he changes up Fly by Lenny Kravitz, where if you just search, I think you just have to search like Fly. Is that the song? I think I Want to Get Away. That song's just called Fly, right?
Yeah.
I think if you just search Fly Lenny Kravitz music video, it's there. Go to the one by the user Neil CIC. But if you just search Fly Lenny Kravitz, okay, yeah. So Lenny Kravitz dash Fly Away in parentheses lyrics by Neil Cicierega. And it looks like just a classic like Microsoft Movie Maker or someone made a music video, but it's actually him like editing the song and it slowly becomes more and more not the regular song as it goes, but it starts off. It's really good. It's a fun prank to play on friends. If you just like pull it up and then after 15 seconds, they're like, is this really how this song goes? And then by the end, you're like, what am I watching / listening to? It's perfect. It's really good. I can't recommend it enough. But anyway, Percy Jackson, she's going to watch Chuck Norris videos to calm down, as we all do. Piper thinks that his real actions that he's doing here is he's going back and he's IMing his girlfriend, Millie, which I like that she is like fully locked in on like, this is exactly what he's doing. She's not even guessing. She just thinks that's it. Apparently, he's been very agitated about her lately and he doesn't want to talk to anyone about her. So she feels like this is exactly what he's doing, not watching Chuck Norris videos. Now, while Piper thinks that the scepter is capable of changing the weather, she worries that something else is happening, and we will see next chapter what that is. And yeah, you should have been worried. Jason says that they can't talk on the deck, so they should postpone their meeting. The plan apparently was to talk strategy as they were getting closer to Epirus, but it's just not the right locale anymore since they're just getting pelted with freezing cold water. Not the ideal setting for a meeting, though it would be the ideal setting for me in a meeting when I was an engineer, because I used to fall asleep in meetings all the time. And if I was getting pelted with frozen water, I would have been much more likely to stay awake during these meetings.
I think this is a valid strategy, right? If you start to feel tired when you're driving, throw on cold air.
Yeah.
If you start to feel drowsy during a meeting, throw on a hurricane and blizzard and...
I just wish I would have been benefited by if in every meeting room there was a little tiny standing desk, and while everybody sits at chairs and has a meeting, I could stand. Because if I was standing, I wouldn't fall asleep. But if I'm in a chair, and if for like 5 seconds the meeting is about not me, I'm like, my brain's just like, you don't have to be here for this. And I'm like, you're right, I don't have to be here for this. And then I fall asleep.
But do you have dreams in these meetings?
No, probably not.
You wake up and question why you're in a bed with a giant skeleton cat.
It's or the one time my boss smacked the table to wake me up. He was just like, Mike! So I owe that guy an apology text message for falling asleep at meetings. He was a good boss, and I was a sleepy boy. But anyway, Percy Jackson. So Piper is not bothered by the waves since she's got this history of surfing and all of that. Hazel, not doing so well. Hazel, as Piper says, quote, the poor girl got seasick even in calm waters. She looked like she was trying to swallow a billiard ball, which is very much a visual I can imagine. Not that I've ever tried to swallow a billiard ball, but I can understand what that has to look and feel like. So I get it.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense that Hazel would be seasick, right? Like this demigod that has powers connecting to the ground, right? Like my brain immediately was like, oh yeah, sure. That makes sense. Like she's not touching.
She's not on stable ground.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way. That makes a whole lot of sense. She can go what? I'm sorry? Well, yeah, she needs the ground to be able to do her cool Hazel power. I like imagining her as a Pokemon. She has the 4 attacks. It's like, oh, I want to use VOOWAH. Yeah, that's a good one. It's one of those ones that's only like 5 out of 5, so you got to get to a Poke Center so you can get the PP back.
As you know, every time she pulls gems from the ground, she does say, Hazel!
I thought you were going to, with the VOOWAH, say she turns into Luigi from the Mario Bros. She should do that. We should. Rick, we have ideas. Little punch up. When Hazel uses powers, she should go. So, anyway, Percy Jackson. Oh, right. So then Hazel says, I got to go throw up. So she's going to go downstairs to do the throwing up. Nico encourages her, says, like, go. You can do it. It's chill. And then he kisses her on the cheek goodbye, which Piper finds incredibly strange and confusing. This guy hates physical contact. Why would he do this? Narrator Piper goes, kissing Hazel. It was almost like he was saying goodbye. I don't really know about the saying goodbye thing, but I do like to imagine that Nico, yes, he was forced to come out, which was not an ideal circumstance to do it. But I think it would be funny. This is not probably what it actually is. But she's like, oh, yeah, people know I like boys now. I'm just going to turn into like a, yes, queen, go throw up. Bye. Like, I do not think that that's what's happened. But I would love if he's like, I'm going to finally embrace my queerness and start kissing everyone goodbye and wishing them well as they go puke. I'll hold your hair. Like, yeah. But no, I was confused by the, like he was saying goodbye thing. I don't know. I feel like this is spoiler town, so I can't necessarily speculate about it too much, but I don't know if like Nico is thinking that he's not going to make it out of this. I know that there is the concern with the whole doors of death. There's been this whole thing back and forth, like someone has to be on the other side. I am worried that someone is going to have to stay on the other side of the doors of death when they close them. I've wondered if this is going to be Hazel. Like Nico and Hazel feel like the top 2 candidates. Nico is in future books. I'm not sure about Hazel, so I'd put my money on Hazel. She's also already lived a life, so she could do the whole thing of like, oh, I already had my time, blah, blah, blah. So maybe he's knowing that. I don't know. Can't speculate too much because all these trapdoors got to stay intact. And you don't want to get zooped down to Charlotte. Except for the one person. Are you from Charlotte or you're from Durham? So you traveled for the other show and then this show was not nice. Okay, so yeah, you definitely don't want to get, you're like, I was already there. I don't want to be back there.
The issue with Durham is I immediately go to County Durham in England. And it was like, you came, and then I immediately realized, but there was...
This is like the one out of every 1,000 times I tell someone I'm from Jersey, and they're like, in England? They're like, no. New Jersey. Do I sound like I'm from Jersey? Absolutely not. Okay, so he does the kiss goodbye thing. She thinks that is weird, and then Frank offers to walk Hazel down. He kind of grabs her by the hip, helps her stabilize as she makes her way down. Narrator Piper says, quote, Piper hoped Hazel would be okay. The last few nights, since that fight with Skyron, they'd had some good talks together. Being the only 2 girls on board was kind of rough. They shared stories, complained about the guy's gross habits, and shed some tears together about Annabeth. Hazel had told her what it was like to control the mist, and Piper had been surprised by how much it sounded like using charm speak. Piper had offered to help her if she could. In return, Hazel had promised to coach her in sword fighting, a skill at which Piper epically sucked. Piper felt like she had a new friend, which was great, assuming they lived long enough to enjoy the friendship. And man, call up the Cheetah Girls because girl power. I love this.
I mean, like thinking back on it, this is the first time they're addressing that it went from like a 3-5 girls guys situation to a 2-5 because they gained Nico and then lost Annabeth. So,
Percy.
And Percy. But that is what misbalanced everything. And I think
Correct.
back to being a teenage boy at summer camp. Oh, those cabins were rough.
Yeah, I never did a sleepaway camp. I only did sports camps.
Oh, I can't imagine you doing sports camps.
Look, it's my half jock, half nerd life, and it skewed more jock early and it skewed more nerd later. But I never did a sleepaway overnight camp.
Sure. Just picture what locker rooms smelled like, but you slept in it. Yeah.
That's not what you want. Ooh, especially when we were teenagers, because then I'm sure it had the cool, fun thing where it smells gross, but then also smells like Axe body spray on top of the gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of where in Texas all of these camps were, every once in a while the water was that like metal water that doesn't
Dude,
clean.
Texas tap water is so bad. It's so bad. And I came from New Jersey, not Old Jersey, where you can just drink the tap water and it's okay. And I remember the first time being in my parents' place in Texas having tap water, and I was just like, what is this? Like, it tasted light. Like I got diet water. Like, it had no heft to it. It was disgusting. Ugh. Blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, picture that, but like trapped on a boat. Plus, coach can't like be cleaning all the time.
I don't think he is. Too busy watching all those Chuck Norris videos. But yeah, I like this. I like them bonding. I think that's fun. It's cool to see that they've become closer as friends. I like that they're complaining about the boys' gross habits because ew, boys. Like, I think it's very fun. So this is cool. I would love to see this friendship develop. I hope they both live long enough to enjoy the friendship. We'll have to see. Nico offers to put the staff below deck in case it really is messing with the weather, and then he shoots Piper and Leo a look as he leaves, like he's worrying about them talking about him behind his back once he goes down. Now, Piper feels like Leo's becoming more reserved, more hidden, a little more defensive, so she's definitely cluing into recognizing that something is up. We all know what's up, but she doesn't know what's up.
Sure. And I question Nico's reasoning behind this. I feel like staff that summon Blizzard still summon Blizzard below deck. But potentially in a worse space for Blizzard.
Yeah, I guess maybe he's in the thing of like the orb is affecting what is immediately around it. So it's just like, oh, it's out in the open. It is making the open bad. Maybe if it's in a room, it just makes the room have really bad vibes as opposed to like it would stop at the walls or something like that.
As all magic staffs do, they respect walls.
Well, it's got Nightcrawler rules, right? Like Nightcrawler can only bamf teleport to places he can see. So the orb can only affect things that it can see. If you see the wall, it's like, all right, this is where my bad vibes power ends.
And he got the name of that power from the art shop up the road.
No, sorry, that's BLAM.
I'm so sorry.
We walked by BLAM today, and I want to go back to BLAM. It seems to be, from Google Maps, it's an art gallery of sorts that had like 3 reviews, so I have no idea. But if your establishment is called BLAM, I'm going to go to your establishment. So I will investigate BLAM and see how it is.
Any blammers in the room?
No? Okay.
None.
BLAM, sponsor the pod. Let's go. That would be great if this episode of News Olympian is brought to you by BLAM. So once he leaves and Jason is alone, Piper studies Jason's face to see if she can see anything on it, read his expressions, make sense of what happened in Croatia. And then, I'm sorry, my brain is only thinking of trying to put together Jason face into like Facin or something like that. Anyway, Leo says, so much for the big team meeting. Looks like it's just us again. And Leo saying just us makes Piper think back to their first quest together in Chicago, especially because of the cold vibes. It's reminding her of their adventure in The Lost Hero. Piper feels like Leo hasn't changed too much since then. He's just more comfortable as a child of Hephaestus. He is now channeling his excessive nervous energy into good. She talks about, how he's always like fidgeting with stuff like the spheres and his little tools and his tool belt and stuff like that. Jason looks thinner, taller, and more careworn. Is that what is in the American English too?
Careworn.
Okay, because I had never seen, heard, read the word careworn before. This is my first time. I don't know if it's super common and I'm the weird one, but I Googled and careworn means just to be exhausted due to stress, which feels correct, but I've never heard of this word ever before. I don't know if this is because I have the very legal British PDF and it was like, oh yeah, he's careworn. Like I had no Had no idea. So that was my first time.
For a second, you thought it was only Old Jersey, not New Jersey.
Correct.
I do think that the Texas author of this book,
Right. Well, no, I just didn't know if it was going to be one of those things where they, like, sometimes they change the words.
Yeah.
But.
Bins, trash cans.
Right.
Yeah.
Mum. Jumper.
Sure.
Yeah.
All of those classic
All those aluminium, all those things, all those classics. So Piper is continuing to look at Jason's face, and she looks at that streak that's on the side of his head from Skyron. And this is the first time that it seems like it's a scar from the bullet. Like before it seemed like it just cut his hair, but now it seems like it's like really put like a permanent kind of racing stripe in his head. She thinks that this makes him look a little more rebellious, and she also thinks that his eyes look older, like they have more responsibility on them. Piper knows what her friends whisper about Jason. He's too perfect. He's too much of a goody-goody. And I'm wondering, is this Piper's friends whispering this, or is it your readers, Rick Riordan, who are whispering this? Because this feels like him trying to get something off his chest. Piper says that this journey alone should disprove those thoughts, as Jason has been beaten up both physically and emotionally, and these experiences haven't necessarily weakened him, they've just softened him like leather. He's becoming more comfortable in who he is.
Yeah, Piper was really concerned that he was reading things on Reddit. I mean, she was hearing friends.
The Goodreads reviews, I mean, the Tumblr message boards, I mean... Piper wonders what the boys will think of her and how much she has changed. She for sure feels different, but she wonders how that manifests for, outward appearances and vibes. She thinks, as the narrator, that rescuing Hera feels like eons ago, but it was only 7 months ago, and that is so recent. Like, I recognize it was recent, but I forgot, with book 3 kind of picking up right after book 2, it really has not been that long. 7 months is not a lot.
I feel like all of the books that you have gotten through in the Percy Jackson series as a whole have been these books that are like take place in such short periods of time.
Yeah.
And going from books where it's like, one book is 1 year, which I feel like is a standard trope in YA.
Sure.
It is such a different read, and I forget every time. I'm like, all right, time to have a huge time skip. And I'm like, an hour between book
Right.
1 and 2.
Yep. The other thing that's hard is that it takes me about 6 months of podcast episode wise to go through all of the books and stuff. So for the books being usually 2 weeks or so, and then, like you're saying, not having a big gaps, like then it can throw off. Then when the TV show comes out, there's more stuff. There's all sorts of things that are messing up the timeline and all of that. And we've been arrested for saying mean things about Rick Riordan's feelings. All right. Piper thinks that the Olympians might have a reason to go loopy. She cannot fathom living for thousands of years. Also, just in case my sound cleanup software did a good job, podcast listeners, there was a very loud siren. So she thinks, maybe the Olympians have a good reason to go loopy. If I had to be alive for thousands of years, like 7 months feels like a long time to me. What would being alive for that long be like? She yearns for the comfortable nature of Camp Half-Blood, especially because her recent knife visions have been less than ideal. So Jason squeezes her shoulder and says, everything's going to be all right. They should be at Epirus in like a day or two. And Leo agrees. He's very excited. He's like, I'm going to get a t-shirt and everything at the House of Hades. And Piper is not enthused about the thought of returning to darkness, going underground. She still has nightmares about the Nymphaeum and the Hypogeum. Doesn't really want to go through it again. I like that those experiences have kind of scarred everyone. Jason in a previous chapter was like, I hate those places. Piper's like, I hate those places. I guess Leo's like, t-shirts. Because, his underground experience all in all was pretty good. He went down, got these cool spheres. He's back. So Leo loves going underground, I guess.
And I think he does think there's t-shirts. I think he's a little confused.
Look, Frank keeps getting t-shirts everywhere. So the only assumption that can be made is wherever we go, we get cool t-shirts.
Absolutely.
I get it.
Look, here's the thing. It's so interesting how this crew really sees monsters and are like, But I feel like early in the early books, there wasn't as much like, oh no, we have experienced monster trauma. But this crew is like, and this crew, including the old crew, is now like, no, we have monster trauma.
Well, you see, these are older teenagers, so they are more in tune with their feelings.
Fair.
Now, Piper's knife visions on Catoptris are matching the visions that Hazel's been describing from Hecate. She describes them as, quote, a pale sorceress in a gold dress, her hands weaving golden light in the air like silk on a loom, a giant wrapped in shadows, marching down a long corridor lined with torches. As he passed each one, the flames died. She saw a huge cavern filled with monsters, Cyclopes, Earthborn, and Stranger Things, surrounding her and her friends, hopelessly outnumbering them. So, not great.
The Demigorgons.
I know, yeah, it's hard. It sucks to, you can't say Stranger Things anymore because you just think of Stranger Things.
Absolutely.
They've done it. They've absolutely ruined two words next to each other.
It's okay. When you said Sirens earlier, I immediately went to...
The PWHL team?
No!
Oh. The New York Sirens, who I pledge my allegiance to because I went to a PWHL game. Any PWHL fans out there? The Professional Women's Hockey League? Does North Carolina have a team? So what team do you root for? You root for New York. Nice, the Sirens. I like how other people said the Canes because that's the I don't care about men's hockey. Men's hockey's boring. Do they have Barbie night where you get a free pink Barbie/New York Sirens fanny pack? Yeah, that you get for free and then you give to your daughter and she carries it around the house all the time, putting her toys in it all the time? No. Men's hockey? Boring. Girls hockey? Way better.
I'll say I've been to a lot of Stars games and not once has that exact scenario happened to me. So you're totally right.
No, so I
Absolutely.
went to the Sirens game with podcasting friends Alyssa Esteban and Gabrielle Urbina, and it was a blast and a half. And then shout out to my new favorite person on earth, Sarah Fillier, who is on the team and is phenomenal, formerly Rookie of the Year. And the Sirens were down 3-1, and it was late in the third period, and she got out from the penalty box and it scored a goal, and then scored a goal 10 seconds later to tie the game. It went to overtime, and then she scored a goal in sudden death overtime with 14 seconds left in the game to win it. The most unreal hat trick I've ever seen, one of the greatest sports performances ever. And immediately I was like, I need to buy a Sarah Fillier shirt immediately. She's the greatest athlete of our generation. So I'm a huge fan of Sarah Fillier and the New York Sirens. The best thing about the New York Sirens is that it's siren, unfortunately not like mermaid. Siren, I know. They got to go double with it. They really should embrace that more. Like the fans have embraced the mermaid angle of it, but the team officially has not yet. They've only been around for 2 or 3 years. So 3 years total, only 2 with their actual name and logo and stuff. So I think maybe they'll do it later on, but right now it's just siren because in hockey, after you score a goal, and men's hockey too, after you score a goal, they do a big and then they do the light and stuff. So siren is very much like a hockey thing. So they're that, but the crowd chant for the New York Sirens is that they'll go, "Let's go Sirens," and then everybody goes, "Wee woo, wee woo." Like they're Patrick Star, and it's really good because that's the only cheer they do. So all game you got people going wee woo. There's people with wee woo posters, and there was a girl who was doing dance moves and stuff. She had custom pants where it said wee woo on her pants. So good, so great. I'm all in on the Sirens and wee woo. It's great.
Hazel would fit right in.
Yeah, look, it would be so phenomenal. But anyway, what were you saying when I jumped the gun so I could talk about the greatest human on earth, Sarah Fillier?
Yeah. So we were talking about how words kind of have lost meaning, like Stranger Things.
But of course.
And when I'm thinking about mythological things, and then someone sitting beside me mentioned a siren.
Correct.
I did envision that.
Oh, a mermaid going down.
A mermaid going down the road.
Wee woo, wee
going
woo.
going wee woo, exactly.
This reminds me of when I'm in my phone, and most often I will sometimes use the emoji thing where you search for an emoji, and most oftenly when I'm trying to find this particular one, I'm trying to find the wee woo siren because I'm trying to do big announcement or whatever. So I'll go into the emoji thing and I'll hit siren, and it's always fun that you get 4 results. One is the wee woo siren, and then male mermaid, female mermaid, and non-binary mermaid are the 4 options. It's that's good. These are the 2 uses of the word siren. I like words that mean completely different things. Mermaid or wee woo is great. It's great.
I do now need this hockey team that I was not invested in until a few minutes ago to make merch with mermaids that have little sirens on their shoulders.
The most upsetting thing, when I learned that they do the wee woo chant before the game started, I was like, okay, sick. I'm going to go buy merch that says wee woo on it. And I went to the store at the arena. Nothing said wee woo. And I was like, all right, maybe it's online. And I go to their online merch. No wee woo stuff. And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know if the WeWoo thing only developed recently and they didn't make merch for it or whatever because the team is so young. But like, if next year they don't have WeWoo merch, I'm gonna have to either buy bootleg merch or make my own WeWoo merch.
And hear me out. They need to capitalize on shoulder buddies. I think
WeWoo
shoulder buddies.
Yeah, WeWoo, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I just want like a hat or a shirt that just says WeWoo and then has the tiny little Sirens logo. Like I want people to ask me about my shirt and I want it to just say WeWoo. So simple. Anyway, Percy Jackson. Narrator Piper says, after seeing all these visions, that a voice repeats a line while she has these visions. She doesn't say what that line is yet, but we will get into it. Piper tells the boys that she's been thinking of the prophecy of the seven. Leo asks what kind of thoughts, hopefully good thoughts, and she says that she keeps seeing Cleitius, I forget how to say this guy's name, wrapped in shadows guy, whose weakness she knows is fire, but he keeps snuffing out flames whenever he passes them. So then Leo goes, oh, it kind of sounds like Nico. Think they're related? And Jason instantly goes, hey, cut it out and cut Nico some slack. And I love ally Jason Grace. He is such a good ally. He was great when Nico's forced coming out, and he was great here. I like this. This is a great look on Jason. All about it. All about it. So then Jason asks Piper, what are you getting at? And narrator Piper thinks, Jason defending Nico, since when does he do that? So she's definitely starting to piece things together. And Piper says she's thinking about fire and how they expect Leo to fight this giant because he's, and Leo goes, hot? And she goes, let's go with flammable. So the line that she's thinking of is, to storm or fire, the world must fall. And I wrote minutes, oh, that's like a Jason or Leo thing, right? And then Leo goes, yeah, we know. You're going to say I'm fire and he's storm. But then I wrote, oh, or is the storm Cleitius and fire is Leo defeating him? But that's not it. Jason joins in of the guests with Leo, saying that Piper thinks one of them might endanger the quest and accidentally destroy the world. But Piper disagrees, saying that she thinks they must consider the word world differently. World, Earth, in Greek, that word would be Gia. I mean, it would be a different one, but we are true to the bit. Jason goes, you mean to storm or fire, Gia must fall. And Leo says that he likes this version way better. He would love to be the reason that she is bested. Piper then takes out Catoptris, and it's showing the snuffing candle vision of Cleitius walking by. And the book ends this chapter with the following, quote, I'm worried about Leo in this fight with Cleitius, she said. That line in the prophecy makes it sound like only one of you can succeed. And if the storm or fire part is connected to the third line, an oath to keep with the final breath, she didn't finish the thought, but from Jason's and Leo's expressions, she saw, I like that it was the proper Jason's and Leo's, shout out to my 4th grade grammar teacher, Jason's and Leo's expressions, she saw that they understood. If she was reading the prophecy right, either Leo or Jason would defeat Gia, the other one would die. And as sad as this is, this would mean I've got a 50% chance of my guess being right. I don't think Jason's making it out of the series. We'll just have to see. But that's the end of chapter 41, which I've retitled Dreamix, because it's a flip on how the dreams normally work. What have you retitled chapter 41?
And once again, chapter 40, a change of perspective. Chapter 41, a change of perspective again.
Nice. Not to a change of to perspective. I still respect it. So that is the end of this portion of the episode. So if you're listening to the podcast after the fact, we're going to take our mid-roll break, the House of Headlines. So let's all say goodbye to the podcast people. Hello and welcome to the House of Headlines Auxiliary Shubio edition. I'm coming to you from the Auxiliary Shubio, and I'm here to talk about stuff with the podcast. So let's do it. First off, thanks everyone for understanding that June was a 5-Monday month, and having that week off was nice, allowed me to catch up on some other things here and there. I was able to post a bonus episode, so if you are a member of the Patreon and you're at the Super God tier or above, you will have seen that we posted the first of a run of bonus episodes I will be posting. It's from live shows in the past about a Percy Jackson spin-off book. I'm not sure when these will make their way to the TNO feed. It might be years and years from now, but there's a spin-off book in the Percy Jackson universe called Percy Jackson's Greek Gods, and it is effectively like one of those Greek mythology textbooks, except it is narrated by Percy Jackson, and he goes through the old early gods and such, and then goes through all of the Olympians. I had to skip some portions of it because at the time it was recorded, there was some mentions of Gia and such, but the first of a couple that I already have recorded is now live over on the TNO Patreon. That was at the Paris, France live show that we did in November of 2023. So if you want to time travel, check that out. And speaking of time travel, if you want to get teleported back to the first ever The Newest Olympian live show and you want to see some behind the scenes footage, that one is from August of 2022. I posted some behind the scenes footage that we took at the New York and Philly live shows. We did them within a week of each other. It was the first 2 times I ever did TNO live, and that's over on the TNO YouTube channel, completely free. Just head on over. It is youtube.com/@newest Olympian, or just search for it and it's there. Please subscribe if you have not already. Would love to get more folks over on the TNO YouTube because I'm going to try to post more and more things over there, such as this live show behind the scenes footage. So if you want to see behind the scenes footage from those shows, you can. And then both of those shows did have video replays that you can get over on the TNO merch store, which is over at thenewsolympian.com/merch. So lots of fun stuff. Bonus episode if you want to pay for it. If you don't want to pay for stuff, check out that free video on YouTube. And finally, speaking of paying for stuff, I believe I alluded to this in a previous episode, but I'm hoping to get the gears moving on it soon. We are going to be doing pre-orders for the Mayor of Tangent Town pins. So I'm going to post something on the TNO Instagram account. So follow us at Newest Olympian on Instagram, and there will be instructions about what to do to place an order. But basically, before I have them up on the merch store, I'm going to let people buy them from me directly, and then that will help you save on shipping and stuff. So stay tuned for a post on the Newest Olympian Instagram, and then I'll talk about it in the middle break when it's actually live, but we'll have a certain set date. I'm going to be selling the Mayor of Tangent Town pins, which are brand new, as well as the Australia and New Zealand tour stickers if you weren't able to make it to any of those shows. So those will be up. Just follow us on Instagram. I was going to try and get to it in the off week, and life just happened. It just happened. My beloved 2025 NBA Cup champion New York Knicks are in the 2026 NBA Finals, and that's just been a whole lot in a really good way, and I've been really locked in there. And there's some busy parts of life. There's some good parts of life. There are some other work things I had to handle. But that's really front of brain. It's Sunday night as I record this, and Game 3 is on Monday. And I am nervous for my boys. They need me. They really need me to wear all of my superstitious Knicks clothes I've been wearing all week. Anyway, this is a podcast about Percy Jackson. So let's see. Anything else? We've got live shows coming up. We've got 3 live shows coming up. One is in Brooklyn, which is in New York City, and that is on August 15th. First act, going to be some TNO classic stuff. Second act, going to be some really solid improv with some talented New York-based improvisers. And then we've got live shows in September. On the 20th, we'll be in Boston, and on the 27th, we'll be in Philly. And by Philly, I mean Doylestown, and by Doylestown, I mean Philly. So you can get tickets to all 3 of those shows at thenewsolympian.com/live. Very excited about it. I soon will be doing a competition for which of those shows sells the most tickets, and we'll be giving a free giveaway at the merch table for whichever city wins. I just got to get more of the numbers so that I can make a cool graph about it, but I want to pit those 3 cities against each other, and I think it will be very fun. So stay tuned for that. But rep your city. Please get tickets. I want Turnout to be good. Let's make these a party. Woo! Take the Amtrak and go to all the shows. Those tickets are available at thenewsolympian.com/live. Now, I've mentioned the Patreon a couple times, so let's give a shout out to the folks who've joined the Patreon most recently. So shout out to our newest God tier patrons, Josh Bendixson, I Am Sciencer, and Magdalena Drepic. Thank you all so much for your support. May Janice bless you that if you are toying between 2 answers in trivia, you pick the right one. I know he's the god of doorways, and sometimes deciding to go with your gut or not trust your gut, especially in a trivia setting, feels like going through one of 2 doorways, and I hope that he helps you choose the right option. Now, if you're all caught up in the Newest Olympian and you're looking for some new content to consume, you're in luck because I make a whole bunch of it. I've produced a whole lot of it, and you can listen to it all right now. One of the things I made in the past is a little different. It's a scripted show called Modern Muckraker, and I just received a message today from the brother of one of the writers on the show saying that he and his family love it, and they listen to it regularly, and they have children, and the children love it, and it's silly and goofy, and it warmed my heart so much. So it's a scripted show where I worked with a whole team of creative people to make a fake investigative journalism podcast where we acted like it was serious business, but the questions were silly, such as how many IHOP locations can you visit and eat free pancakes at during one National Free Pancake Day? So if you want to listen to that, you can check it out. There are 4 lovely episodes, and they're available at modernmuck.com or by searching for Modern Muckraker wherever you get your podcasts. Now, unless you're listening on Patreon where you get access to ad-free episodes, you're going to hear words from a few sponsors who make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of those ads will be read by me, and others of them won't be. The ones that aren't read by me are inserted locally. So if you live in Luxembourg. Don't be surprised if you're hearing that in Luxembourgish, which I did not know was a language, German, or French. But once those ads are complete, we'll get back into this episode of the News Olympian. I do love being back in the East Coast so we get the Deer Park bottled water because it reminds me of my childhood. You made the very good point pre-show that like there's all the different water bottle companies and stuff. It all feels the same, but it's like, oh, we're in the Deer Park part of the world. We're in.
I'll give you a hint. It's because it's all the same. Ozarka, Deer Park, it's all the same.
Nah, dude, Deer Park is special. I like Deer Park.
Sure. And that's why they use the Ozarka bottles and
that could be a Poland Springs bottle. Hey.
It could be a Poland Springs because it's the same company.
Anyway, no free ads for water. Though I have a company that helps me like book ads and stuff. And every now and then they'll be like, hey, is there anything like you want to try? Like brands you want us to pitch? I was like, get a water company to be the official water of TNO. I drink so much water during recordings on stage. I'm always talking about hydration, all this stuff. Water companies sponsor me. I don't care about whatever they are. I'll pretend yours is the best water. I don't even care if it's like the bougie brands like Saratoga. I'll do it. Or if it's like, oh, we're cool water, liquid death. Well, it's water, but it's not like gay or anything. Like whatever it is. Sponsor me, water.
I feel really bad, Mike. So speaking
Do you work for a water company and you told them not to sponsor me?
Yeah, I go around to all
Do
the
you work
water.
for Spring Mountain Valley or whatever the green glass bottle's in? That's who I really want to sponsor me. God, that water is so good.
No. That's
My
not
uncle's
what
like
I
a health nut and he gets those. And I was like, oh, classic Uncle Peter again. And then I had a sip and I was like, that stuff's good.
Valid answers. But no, I almost had a water sponsorship on my live streams.
What? From who?
So, call back to earlier in the last chapter. Did y'all know that Chuck Norris owned a water company? Sea Force. It is water that is bottled from his ranch in Texas. And I was in email chains back and forth, and it was going to be a thing. And then an event happened in 2020, and
Damn. All right, we're going to have to do that. I'll have to see if they're still in business. Chuck. Sponsor
Chuck.
Chuck. I would literally in the email, I'd be like, his name comes up in the books. This is the perfect sponsorship. Anyway, we gotta, wait, what? Chuck Norris died?
Did you not know this?
No, I'm not a 14-year-old boy anymore. I'm not keeping tabs on Chuck Norris.
It was like 3 weeks ago.
It was 3 weeks ago. That recently? That makes sense. All right, I feel less embarrassed. What? Chuck? No. Hell, he was 86. He had a good run. He had a great run. March 19th, 2026. Man.
Oh, sorry. It was exactly a month ago.
Still, not exactly. It's
Wow.
April 22nd. Man, that's very unfortunate, but yeah, no, let's find out what I was doing. March 19th, 2026.
Yeah, why didn't you know, Mike?
I was probably too busy having a child. It's not physically having one, but continuing to have one. March 19th, 2026. What was I doing?
I will say it came up in the Discord.
It came up in the Discord. I missed it. Let's see. What did I do on March 19th? Let's see. I took my baby to the playground with Sherry. And I went to the gym. BTS's new album came out at midnight. I was busy. I was really busy. Yeah. No, man. That's sad. Well, sorry, Chuck. 86, though. That's good. Good.
Yeah.
Good, Chuck. Yeah. Shout out to Chuck. I hope Chuck Norris didn't do anything bad, right? Was he bad? Should I unshout out Chuck?
He was Texan.
Oh. Okay.
But he did have a really cool charity that helped underprivileged kids get into martial arts.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's where all the funds from the water company went.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Chuck, for the most part. All right, chapter 42 is called Piper. We will retitle it. It opens with, quote, Leo stared at the dagger. Okay, so I don't like your idea as much as I thought. You think one of us defeats Gia and the other one dies? Or maybe one of us dies while defeating Gia? And then Jason interjects to say that we're gonna go mad if we try to think about this too hard, if we're overthinking it. It always does more harm than good when heroes try to get ahead of prophecies and trying to prevent them, so let's just not. And I do agree with the sentiment, but I do feel like you should at least consider it a little bit. Like, we should talk about it a little bit. Maybe not too much. Like, maybe don't overthink it, but we should think it.
I agree that sometimes when you actively try to prevent prophecies, it hasn't ended well for demigods.
No.
And so maybe there is wisdom in not actively trying to avoid like one of the largest prophecies of the book.
Yeah, no. That last series, we see it. Rest in piss, Luke. So,
Yeah.
Now, Leo thinks that things are already pretty rough, so how could it get any worse? I'm surprised it didn't start raining exactly at that moment. Jason says what he meant is that we don't know if we're right about any piece of this prophecy, so let's not go to the next step where we are linking pieces together. We don't even know if we're right about any of them. For example, Percy can raise hurricanes. That's a storm. He could be the storm for all we know. And I was like, yeah, Jason, but he's in the title of future books. And you're not. So I don't know. Leo agrees, saying that he could set hedge ablaze and he could be fire, which is an interesting point.
And at that point in the previous chapter where they said, well, he's flammable, my argument is they're all flammable.
Okay. Narrator Piper says, the thought of a blazing satyr screaming, "Die, scumbag!" as he attacked Gia was almost enough to make Piper laugh. Almost. Here's my question. How bad of a word on the bad word scale is scumbag? Like, is it in the damn territory? Is it not as bad? Okay, this is what I thought, but when I was playing Jak II, the video game for the PlayStation 2, I got it for Christmas one year, and I just happened to be playing the first level where the big guy with the deep voice takes you out to fight the metalheads. We've all played Jak II.
Yeah.
And at one point, you shoot one of them, and he goes like, "Oh yeah, got that scumbag." And I remember my dad happened to be like sitting next to me being like, "How's this game?" And he was like, "Whoa, what's this game rated?" And I was like, "T for teen."
And here's the thing. I think my mom did the exact same thing at that exact same scene.
Okay.
But the Jak series in my brain was always like pushing the limits, you know?
Well, Jak II, because in Jak 1 it was a platformer,
Yeah.
it was by the people who made Crash Bandicoot.
Sure.
The hero didn't say anything, but then the first line that Jak says famously in Jak 2 is very angry. I won't spoil it in case anyone wants to play, because it's really good, and the whole Jak 1, Jak 2 thing is great.
Yeah.
But,
and then in
it
3,
changes
they
in
made
2.
Grand Theft Auto the video game.
It was great. You could steal flying cars and stuff. I didn't know you could do that in 2 also.
You can also do it in 2.
You can do it in 2.
The weapon upgrade system,
so
perfection.
good.
Arguably better than the Hades weapon upgrade system.
In terms
my
of
opinion.
yeah, I mean there's
more fun.
The Jak progression of it is really fun. Yeah, it's some good stuff. Gosh, those games are good.
Oh.
I know they've done like a bad remaster, like you can get those games on current PlayStation things, but it's just like a straight up port. So it is like if you had a PS2 disc and you put it in, so you can at least play it. But of all the things to get remastered and put into like proper stuff, that should get like a real proper remaster. Those games are great. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So Piper says she hopes she's wrong, but this whole ordeal began with finding Hera and waking Porphyrion. She has a feeling that the war is going to end with them, this trio as well. And I think at least Porphyrion is coming back. He got zooped away way too easily in The Lost Heroes, so it feels impossible that he would not return. That's where I'm at. We'll just have to see. His defeat just felt too easy. Jason goes, personally, I like us. And Leo goes, agreed. Us is my favorite people. Narrator Piper goes, Piper managed to smile. She really did love these guys. She wished she could use her charm speak on the fates, describe a happy ending, and force them to make it come true. I've just learned that the very British PDF does not use the Oxford comma, and I'm offended. Isn't Oxford University in England?
Look at that.
It's
Look at
got
that.
it there.
It's there.
Good. Ugh, disgusting.
I can't
disgusting.
tell you. I can't tell you how many mugs I have that describe it's 2. I have 2 mugs that describe the Oxford apparently I could tell you.
It's a very important
It's
comma.
so
I don't
important.
understand anyone that doesn't use it.
I
Like,
agree.
Yeah.
How can you list the flavors of chips without the Oxford comma?
What do you mean?
Sour cream and onion, salt and vinegar are in the list. And so
I see what you're
is
saying.
it a salt
Yeah.
and then a different chip, vinegar?
Right.
Or is it both? And only the Oxford comma can disambiguate that. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
That's good. I always use the one that's like, it's like we brought the strippers, Lenin and Stalin, or we brought the strippers, Lenin and Stalin. Which Very different. It's also
Very
like
different.
the let's eat grandma versus let's eat grandma.
Yeah.
Commas are important. They're really important. So, gosh, so distracted by that. That's wild. So Piper can't picture a happy ending with all that's going on right now. She worries that Clytius was sent specifically to remove Leo as a threat, which would mean that Gia is going to try and take out Jason, because if we can get rid of Storm and Fire, the Seven cannot win. They cannot make this prophecy come true. The cold weather also feels evil and like it's pointing to something bigger. And once she said that, I was like, oh man, Keone's back. Narrator Piper goes, quote, Piper should have understood what was happening sooner, but she'd spent most of her life in Southern California with no major changes of season. She hadn't grown up with that smell, the smell of impending snow. I grew up in a snow place. What? I've never heard of the smell of impending snow.
As someone who grew up in a rain place,
Okay.
there is a smell
I know
of
that one, but I've never
rain.
heard it for snow. But there's it's a thing?
Does it smell like the impending rain?
Yeah, what does it smell?
It's different than pet store. It smells like snow. Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
It smells like snow. Is almost as good as the sun
I like
is
that
yellow.
you said it as if I've watched the Gilmore Girls instead, which is just I've made fun of Kelly for the Gilmore Girls for years.
You have to watch that episode.
Okay, is the episode called It Smells Like Snow? Okay, I'll do that. La 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 la. Gillies. All right, so I didn't know there was a thing. I'm the weird one. Piper knows what's up and tells Leo to sound the alarm. And that's Keone's music, baby. That's the note that I wrote the note that I wrote was, "OMG, is that Keone's music?" Piper didn't know that she had charm spoke that line, but Leo dropped his screwdriver instantly and hit the alarm. But he frowns when it didn't do anything, and he remembers that he had disconnected Festus for some repairs and upgrades. This was mentioned earlier, but I don't like the spheres. I think they're boring and MacGuffin-y, so I just didn't write that in my note, hoping that it was just flavor text. Turns out to be important.
And I wrote at the top of my notes, the Chekhov's gun has fired.
There it is. Yeah, I find the spheres boring. I don't like the thing. It's like, they can just do whatever. Whoa. Like, I don't know. I'm the guy
Sure.
who likes to know all the rules of the magic, and the spheres just seem like whatever the plot calls for, they do.
Can I remind you of Jack and Dexter's entire storyline?
Yes.
Because it's just collect the spheres and they're kind of magic and they just do.
The precursor orbs?
Yeah.
Well, for the longest time, you don't think they are important, and then in Jak III, they become more important. But
They
I won't
do.
say how, because it's a good reveal. It's a good reveal. So Leo says that it'll take a minute to get the system back up. Piper says we don't have a minute. Jason asks what's wrong, and Piper says, it's her. She's back. And I just wrote again in my notes, Keone! The boat jerks to the side. The temperature drops even more. Jason draws his sword, but it's too late as he's hit with a blast of cold and he's frozen beneath a layer of ice. Piper yells for Leo to get his flames going. He does, but the wind extinguishes them. Leo grabs a sphere as the wind picks him up into the air. He says, let me go, and a voice says that they will do so permanently, and he is shot into the sky like he is in a catapult. And then Piper wields her knife and looks around for her friends, hoping they are running up the stairs, but the entrance has been frozen over. Narrator Piper says, quote, she needed a better weapon to fight with, something more than her voice, a stupid fortune-telling dagger, and a cornucopia that shot ham and fresh fruit. And yet Piper has amassed the strangest weapon collection. She certainly has an unconventional arsenal at her hands. She considers running to the ballista, but then her enemies approach and she knows that that won't be enough. The book ends this chapter with the following, quote, standing amidships was a girl in a flowing dress of white silk, her mane of black hair pinned back with a circlet of diamonds. Her eyes were the color of coffee, but without the warmth. Behind her, my thought was just, so iced coffee? Behind her stood her brothers, two young men with purple feathered wings, stark white hair, and jagged swords of celestial bronze. So good to see you again, ma chérie, said Keone. Oh, sorry, I should do the whole thing. So good to see you again, ma chérie, said Keone, the goddess of snow. It's time we had a very cold reunion. And ooh, baby, she's back. And I think that's very funny that given a couple chapters ago, separate from this, Jason was like, oh yeah, remember those guys with the zigzag swords? Ah. And then now, like 4 chapters later, it's like, ah, ha, ha, ha.
These books do such a good job at making the villains look so cool.
They're I mean, because like obviously we don't like her, but like this is an incredible vibe. Like you can't knock the style. The French know style. They just know what's up. They absolutely know what's up. I guess the French Canadians do too. But as the end of this chapter, which I have retitled "This Cold Sometimes Bothers Me Anyway," ooh, retitling
A
of chapter
bitter
42.
cold reunion.
Ooh, very, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So that is the end of this chapter. That's the end of this portion of the episode. If you're listening after the fact, we'll take another little break before Q&A. So let's say goodbye to the podcast people. Hey, it's Mike from the future here. We're going to take one little break because it is a longer episode before we get into the Q&A, the very fun Q&A, in front of a very fun crowd in Raleigh. If you want to learn more about the Raleigh show, I will be posting a director's commentary sometime soon with some behind the scenes. Me and Kevin had a blast in Raleigh. I had so much fun in Raleigh. And if you just want to hear me sing the praises of Raleigh for roughly 15 to 20 minutes, head on over to the Patreon and join the God tier or above because the director's commentary is going to be great. But you know, it's also going to be great, this Q&A. But we're going to take some ad break stuff in between and then we'll get into it. So be back soon. Enjoy the Q&A. Thanks for listening. Whee! Let's now do Q&A. We got a really fun, cool set of questions that I was peeping at in the green room during intermission. I'm very excited about them. So I think we can get to all of them. So let's try to get to all of them. The first one is from Mallory. Subject line, Justice for Little Bob. Hi, Jubes. My name is Mallory, and I've been listening to you since Potterless times. Thanks for getting me through COVID. My question is, if you could have a shoulder buddy / Zhu pet, is that what it is? Zhu Zhu Pet. Okay, I'm sorry that I went with the Chinese pronunciation because it's ZHU. Pet from the PWHL universe. What mythical creature / character would you get? On the flip, what would some of our heroes and Coach Hedge get? So I did Google Zhu Zhu Pets, which I think should be called Zhu Zhu Pets. First I Googled Zhu Zhu and it was like the Chinese singer. And I was like, I probably don't think so. So I searched Zhu Zhu Pets. Is this a common thing or am I weird for not knowing what these are? Because it's like, it seems very niche, but there are like these little tiny stuffed hamster-looking guys with different designs on their back, a shooting star, a spiral, a sun, a heart. But then also, there's a Nintendo DS game called Zhu Zhu Pets, made by Activision. Then it says at the bottom, where will your Zhu dumb? Okay. And then there's Zhu Zhu Pets 2 featuring the Wild Bunch, which includes a raccoon, a squirrel, a blue squirrel, and a pink bunny. Then there's a page.
That's a chipmunk.
Oh, a chipmunk. Okay. Then it has like all the different names of them, such as Mr. Squiggles, Pipsqueak, Num Nums, Chunk, Peaches, Patches, Peachy, Jinx, Pinky, Captain Zoo, Fluffy, Carly, and more. There's a Wii game apparently as well. It continues onward. There's a TV show called Polly and the Zhu Zhu Pets. Then there looks like this new thing where it looks like Zhu Zhu Pets, but they're like Hot Wheels because there's got like tracks and cars and stuff with them. The Zhu Zhu universe is vast. So anyway, if we were getting shoulder buddies or Zhu Zhu Pets from the PGA universe, what would we get as that? I would have to get Blackjack. I love Blackjack so much, and a little Blackjack on there would be great. If maybe I get two Blackjacks and one has a speech bubble that says, hey, and the other one says, boss. And I think that would be very good. What about you? What little PJO shoulder buddy would you get?
Festus, but in head form.
Ooh, Festus head form. Yeah. Then Mallory gives some suggestions. Bittersweet has delicious cocktails and desserts. I'd go for the food alone. The little one would also love the Marbles Museum. I would love the Marbles Museum.
It like right there on the corner.
Oh, may I be going tomorrow? I'm assuming it's not open. That is cool. All right. Then Mallory then sent a reply email saying in Raleigh, not Raleigh, because for a while I had a typo on the ticket page where it was IEGH. I promise I didn't know it. I know Raleigh spelled that way, so that was just me typing it fast. But I did correct it a couple of days ago. So your screenshot is old.
But if you screenshot the thing that says my name, it is still incorrect.
Wrong. Well, I can't edit an Instagram post when it's a picture. You can't go back and do it. My bad. All right, so this one is from Sarah. Sarah says that Durham is the superior city, and I'm going to stay out of this debate. Ooh. Sarah says, hi, Mike. As a parent in your audience, I wanted to say it's delightful to hear you talk about all the children's books you read at home as a family. Yeah, look, when people, I don't understand the whole throw your iPad in front of your kid, because you can just throw a book in front of your kid, and it's way better. So in that spirit, if Percy Jackson characters were to appear in your favorite children's books, which books would they inhabit? For example, obviously Grover would be Grover in There's a Monster at the End of this book. Feel free to be creative with the characters who come to mind. For example, Blackjack and Scipio could be in Fritz and the Beautiful Horses. Someone was just talking to me about this book. Were you talking me about this? Someone's just talking to me about Fritz and the Beautiful Horses. Oh, you were talking to me about bringing Fritz and the Beautiful Horses. There's Fritz and the Beautiful Sarah? Hi, okay, great. I'm excited to learn about Fritz and the Beautiful Horses. It sounds lovely. So, if we're putting PGO characters into children's books, what are we thinking? Mrs. O'Leary could be in Go Dog Go, obviously.
Yeah.
She could be one of the big dogs that's mentioned in Go Dog Go. Man.
I think that Bob and our friendly giant could in fact be in the
He could be the
in
big
the crown.
in the
And the crown book you were mentioning earlier.
The crayon book.
Yeah, that word.
Okay.
Because they know
The
that
Crown
the sun
is a British television program.
sure. Because they in fact know that the sun is yellow. And it could be them telling the
Okay.
story.
I thought you were going to say that Bob could be in literally The Big Friendly Giant. Like, meant for
Fair.
older kids, but...
Fair.
could be in there for sure. Or I guess that would actually have to be Damison, because Bob's a Titan.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Damison could be the big friendly giant. Who crushes dragons.
Crushes dragons, for sure. I'm trying to think of some other ones. There was a cute little book that we read in the library in Australia that was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like Old Frank and Young Frank. And then Old Frank was Frank Lloyd Wright, the architect, as a grandpa. And then there was like a little Frank who he was teaching about like what architecture means and how it means more than just like building buildings. It can mean other things like interior design and stuff like that, because Frank Lloyd Wright was a pioneer in that. So I could see Annabeth being in like an cute little like architectural book like that.
Specifically DJ Cerberus from the musical as Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, that's better than Go Dog Go. Yeah, Mrs. O'Leary. Cerberus Cerberus, that's really good. Yeah. Say what? Thalia is the Giving Tree.
That book just got so much sadder somehow.
But then it tracks because Luke can be the boy in the Giving Tree who is a jerk. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Okay, this one is from Maria. It says, bam, Raleigh. Hi, Mike. I moved to Raleigh a few months ago, and I've noticed people here really like to dip their pizza in ranch. It was a Texas thing. I had one of my friends over shortly after moving to Texas, and we got pizza, and he was like, hey, do you have any ranch? And I was like, for what? And he said, for the pizza. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, I put ranch on my pizza. And we had ranch in our fridge. And I was like, I'm not giving this to you. I can't do this in good faith. I didn't do it. Then I once made vodka rigatoni for someone and they asked me if I had ranch. And I was like, get out of here. I made this with my hands. So what hot takes or weird combos on/for food would the 7 have? For example, I really enjoy hot Cheetos and hummus. I don't hate that. P.S. Don't go to Randy's Pizza in Durham. Pizza sucks here, even with ranch. Yeah. I've said this many times. I often ask for food recommendations. If people ever suggest pizza stuff, I just ignore it. I live in New York City.
Yeah,
you don't have to recommend pizza to me. I will not eat it.
They have a slice of New York.
Oh, you're right. What was I thinking?
Okay, so this is a callback to when I was last on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Coach did some of his healing magic with Gatorade and dirt.
Ooh, that is a weird that's a weird food combo.
That's a weird one.
Yeah. Percy would just put together any blue food and be like, yeah. I'm trying to think if I have any weird food things that I do together. Like, there's the ones that are not that weird that are like common. Like, obviously, like you do fries and Frosties. Like, obviously, you got to do that one. I get like more unconventional with, it's because of when I was in Raleigh on a work trip, I went to a place where instead of putting, I want to say it's a place called Dale's. They like make their own honey, and you get chicken and waffles, and they put honey on the waffles instead of Danes. Yeah. So like I went there, and they were like, "Yeah, we make our own honey. We put honey on the waffles." And I was like, "Oh, that's better." So now I'm like way more of a honey on waffles guy than I'm a syrup on waffles guy.
So I think potentially one that will cause issues is hot honey has been a trend lately.
Very much so. Yes.
And
my hot honey in particular.
And then every once in a while, Mike's hot honey, Schubert without the C.
And apparently without the T either.
Sure.
With the French T, at least.
I will put it on ramen.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
No, that's super good.
I do have to say, when it comes to weird food combinations, I don't know if I have any like standout weird ones, but I do love a honey oat bread.
Okay.
With peanut butter.
Sure.
Golden grams.
Yeah. Oh, you're just describing a snitchwich from...
Sure. But then there are 2 add-ons that I add. Banana.
Okay.
And honey.
You described a very normal sandwich.
Yeah. Except
peanut
who
butter.
puts cereal
I
on sandwiches?
someone who has enough cereal to go around. I take peanut butter and then jelly, and I put it between two slices of bread, and I call it a PB&J. No, that's super good. That's delicious. All good things. All good things. Maria also says, do you say crayon? Oh, you combine the two. Ooh, zag on him, zag on him. Okay, this one is from Zan. This is from Zan from Greensboro. If Coach Hedge, the obvious choice for a fantasy babysitter, was watching the baby, A, what weapon would you want him to teach her to use? And B, what song would he sing her as a lullaby? The weapon is a baseball bat, because I want my daughter to be able to do whatever she wants. She can pursue any of her dreams, hobbies, etc. But I would personally be very invested in her being a fan of softball and playing softball, because then we could be on the same softball team. Like when I'm older and she's like late teen, like I think that could be really fun. I would love that a lot. So like I'm not going to be pushing it, but I just like hope that it happens because it would be really cool. So I would want him to teach her to use his trademark baseball bat. And song for lullaby, probably Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting.
Ooh. I think Coach was a big fan of Sharkboy and Lavagirl.
Oh, very fun.
And arguably the best lullaby.
I haven't seen
Dream a
it,
Dream.
so-
Yeah, y'all know. Y'all know.
I've only seen the third one. I haven't seen the first two. Or isn't it? There's only two?
Yeah.
Then maybe it was called Sharkboy and Lavagirl 3D, and that's the three that's in my mind. Then I've seen
Mayhaps.
Spy Kids.
Kids
Yeah,
had
I
the
super
3D.
haven't seen Sharkboy and Lavagirl because I'm talking about Spy Kids 3.
And you haven't seen the other two.
I think I saw Spy Kids 1, but not 2, but then I saw 3.
Question, have you seen Machete?
No,
Because
but
somehow
I've seen
same
Danny
universe?
Trejo in things, but I don't think I've seen Machete.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
All right, this one is from Haley. It says, visit Pool's Diner in Raleigh. Hi, Mike and Kevin. Okay, cool. Thanks for coming to Raleigh. I'm so excited I could catch this show in my hometown where I actually no longer live. Shout out to my mom who came with me but knows very little. Where's Mom who doesn't know anything? Yeah, Mom, I hope you're having a fun time. I hope you're not too confused. Hopefully it was a fun short story. Yay! I'm in town for the children's dance competition I tour with and work for, so thanks for scheduling the show on my travel day. I love this. This is like when I'm somewhere else and the Knicks happen to be playing their local basketball team. It's like, thank you, National Basketball Association. My question for you both is, if the Seven had tech roles in a theater production, what would they be? Like stage manager, director? Yeah, this feels right up your alley, my guy. Take it away.
Are we talking like exclusively theater? Okay,
Theater like roles. Also, Haley says, P.S. I feel your Jersey pain is I used to live in Athens, Ohio, and people always ask me if I lived in Georgia, followed by Greece. I would ask Greece. If someone said Athens, I would for sure say Greece first. I'd be like, whoa, what's it like from Greece? Okay, anyway.
Paris, Texas, London, Texas.
No, Texas has too many of those
They
bad
do.
ones.
They
Too
do.
many. Too many.
Okay, so here's the thing. Leo is either set crew head or props master.
Yeah. Annabeth has to be the stage manager because she's got the plan.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, for
everything.
sure.
I got it all down.
I think the light board is hard with this crew. I think Piper could handle a light board.
I think she can handle a light board.
But I don't think Piper would be the one to hang the lights.
Okay.
I think that Jason would be all over climbing some ladders
Or
and
flying.
or flying.
Flying. Yeah.
And hanging lights. Oh. Here's the thing about Percy. I think that Percy, if he tried to do anything, may start an avalanche.
Yeah. It'd be tough. It'd be tough.
Yeah, I can't fit him in. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's good. Those are some good ones. That was fun. Okay, this one is from Brooke. Hi, Mike and Kevin. I work for Disney, so the discussion of the shoulder pals has given me life. Random, hopefully fun question. If members of the prophecy could have a shoulder pal, what pal would they have? Anti-shore, because they have magical weapons. If putting the pal off their shoulder made the pal become a weapon, a la Riptide or Fliptide, what weapon would it become? So yeah, I would like to say, like, let's go with everyone's trademark weapon, and then if they put it back into a shoulder pal, what would the shoulder pal be? So like, if Percy had, instead of turning it into a pen, he does a shoulder pal, what does he have? And stuff like that. Blackjack, that's a very good answer.
Sure.
Grover with the reed pipes, it would turn into Hillary Duff and Jesse McCartney.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
Yeah. Piper with Catoptris. Could be like waves, like with a surfboard, or like her dad
plane.
turned into a little like a cutie of her dad.
I think just a little plane.
A plane?
Yeah, the Piper. So if you remember, she has her name because of a plane named a Piper. Something
right.
or another.
Well, also the voice thing too, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because singing and then the snakes. This was also the episode I was on.
Dude,
I'm so
dude.
glad.
That's good. Let's see. Other people. Let's see. I don't know. Nico's would be something like emo. It'd be all very hot topic-y.
Are you considering the new toothpick as Annabeth's?
Sure.
Or the
bronze,
hat?
or the bronze. It could be anything.
Sure,
but
sure,
I'm
sure,
imagining
sure.
Nico. It does a thing where he puts it on, and then it just turns them into like the army kind of thing. So he looks like Welcome to the Black Parade. Like his shoulders just like turn into whatever those old fancy like frilly shoulder cuff things are called.
I just picture Annabeth puts the hat on, and instead of turning invisible, just full garb. Like she's going to the game.
Yeah. That's fun.
A completely different disguise.
I would imagine her shoulder, but they're just like little owls, like the Athenian owls. I think that could be really fun. Okay, this one's from Emma. It says, Raleigh, I interviewed you 3 years ago. Hi, Mike. I interviewed you 3 years ago for my audio journalism class about vocal techniques and tips for being able to talk so long on mic. Happy to say I aced that project and now have a degree in journalism. Yay! Woo! I now work in a newsroom where my voice is on the radio all the time in honor of Earth Day today. Oh, it's Earth Day today.
is Earth Day.
Suck it, Gia. And the recent Artemis 2 mission. What demigod companions would you bring on a mission into space with you? Ooh,
For
mission
Earth
to
Day, we're
space.
leaving Earth.
We're getting out of here. Kick rocks, Gia. We're leaving. If I'm gonna have a demigod companion. If I'm going into outer space, I mean, definitely Annabeth. I want her in my presence because I feel like she would be smart and have things together. I also will bring Clovis because I want to sleep through the turbulence in the initial takeoff. So I want Clovis to have me sleep and then just wake up and it's like, hey, we're in space and you skipped all the scary parts. And then when we come back into Earth, you like puts me to sleep and it's like, hey, we're back in, Florida.
I think prepping for the trip is so important. So Nico being able to go into his sleep form and not use resources outside of
That's
a
really
singular
good.
seed
That's really good.
would be so beneficial to overall resources. NASA would not have to send extra food for that journey because Nico would be passed out the whole time. I think just Annabeth. Like if something goes wrong, I need that on the fly thinking.
All right, this one is from Joseph, who made the subject line, "This bird song is weird." My playlist was playing, the Feel the Rhythm, Feel the Vibe. Bird song is great. It's by the Sweatshop Boys, which is Heems and Riz Ahmed. But Bird song is one that's just Heems, who's also from my favorite rap duo of all time, Das Racist, and who are no longer together, tragically. But Bird song is just, as you heard during intermission, just him like dropping a bunch of bird names and rhyming them together, and it's really good. I highly recommend it. My girlfriend is playing Hades 2 and just started romancing her first character, Moros. Who is your favorite character to romance, and who should she romance next, other than me, obviously? Where are you at, Joseph? Is your girlfriend here at the show? Okay. As the Moros thing has progressed, how do you feel about him? Okay, because I think that guy is super boring. Like, he is... I understand the like complaints people make about Jason because Morris is just like, he's this character in the game that you can romance who's just like, I don't know, he says all the right stuff and he's like so nice until like, oh, I don't want to step on your toes. And I'm like, live a little, man. Like, maybe it's because I'm, you play as a girl and it's all different, but I'm just like, I want something more fun. So I'm not big on Moros. When I played the game, I was, and spoiler alerts in case anyone doesn't want to know the people you can romance or like how it goes or anything like that. But the people that I romanced and saw all the way through was Nemesis, because I love a good enemies to lovers. But it was also like, I don't know, the way she kind of like, I don't know. From the beginning, I was like, yeah, you really hate me. And then the other one was Icarus, because just like they have like a history, and it just kind of feels like they meant to be together. It was like the circumstances brought them apart. So those two, like, I really enjoyed. And then I romanced Eris like all the way up. And then when she asks, like, do you want to be a thing? I turned her down, and it felt so good because she is so annoying in that game. So I loved like leading her on, because also I want to progress through the game and get like the most powers. So I was like, lead her on, and then she being like, oh, do you want to take it to the next step? And I was like. It felt so good. So that's those would be my recommendations. But you can do whatever you want. There's no wrong answers. Just Morris wasn't my style. He was just a little too like, was like, come on, man, give me something. Okay, this one is from Grant. Grant says, hi, Mike. As a massive basketball enthusiast, and since you're currently near 2 of the basketball blue bloods, what are your feelings about the Duke/UNC rivalry? Do you have any thoughts or a favorite between the two? And is there any kind of Duke or UNC rant you could go on? The bitter hatred between the two schools is any basketball fan stream. So, famously, I'm not a big college sports guy, but growing up, I did, of the two, prefer Duke. I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way, but I was just at an impressionable age when JJ Redick was on the team. And for a white guy shooting threes, talking smack, gosh, it was perfect for me. Really connected with JJ Redick. He was my favorite basketball player for years and years. I'm glad he's doing well as a coach. I once gave him podcasting advice, which he took. There was a time where he would like host, he was doing big podcast stuff in between his, after he was retired, before he was a coach, and he would do all these podcasts with NBA players, and they would hold microphones like this the whole time, which in a live show setting is fine because you're moving around a lot more, but when these guys are sitting and just holding, I was like, JJ, you should get like table microphones for the players. It'll be better. You won't have like all these other noises and stuff. And then he was like, oh yeah, we've tried them, they suck. And I was like, you should get these. And the ones that I use, pro tip, like if you want to save a bunch of money, instead of getting a podcasting table microphone, just get a bass drum kick microphone because they are the same, but one costs way less because they're just upcharging people getting podcasting stuff. So I suggested that to him. And then a couple weeks later, he started using those in his podcast. And I was like, So I've liked Duke. Every year I just pick them to win the NCAA title just because if I do a bracket every year, it's like if I always pick them, like odds are I'll be right every now and then. And if they didn't lose the game this year to UConn, I would have won the one bracket that I was in when I would have won $250. And literally the only thing that stopped me was that one. Like that was the difference. If they won that game, I would have won. Really upsetting. So I'm very upset at them. But in honor of that, I dressed very intentionally today in shades of light blue, royal blue, and red to pay homage to Duke, UNC, and NC State because I wanted to have all my bases covered. It was very intentional. Red and blue bracelet, red and blue on the socks. Like, it was very, very, very intentional. So I don't want to like do anything, but like I'm more of a Duke guy. But for the UNC folks, you would know this if you're in the Patreon. Every time I post an episode, I post the GIF of Roy Williams when he comes into the room, and then all the players are like, I post that or a different Roy Williams GIF whenever I have posted the episode onto Patreon. Also, have you considered doing your next podcast 20 years from now, Avatar the Last Airbender? Yes, that's literally the, like, if I run out of Percy Jackson stuff and I'm not retired yet and I need some money, I'll do Avatar the Last Airbender podcast. I already have a name for it. It's not Avatarless because that's not how I name my podcasts. P.S. I'm from Texas, so that disgusting water is all I know and love. Thanks, Grant. Great, great, great. Oh, Grant with a follow-up comment. I was part of that Chuck Norris program for underprivileged kids to learn martial arts. Got to meet him and everything. Really nice guy, and all of the jokes about him are true. What, that, like when he does a push-up, the earth goes down, not him?
That's all true.
Just thought that was a crazy coincidence as I haven't heard anyone mention in like 10 years. Wow, how fun, how fun. Very, very cool. Okay, multiple people have asked this, and I feel like we may have done this already, but I'll do it again just because multiple people asked it. What PWHL team would everyone root for? So let's go one by one. The Montreal Victoire, that would be Keone. The Boston Fleet, let's give it to Octavian because I don't like Boston sports. Minnesota Frost. Minnesota Frost. Is anyone canonically from the Midwest? New York Sirens, obviously Percy Jackson. Vancouver Golden Eyes, Frank, because they're close enough. The Seattle Torrent, that could be Percy as well. So let's give Percy the Seattle Torrent. Let's give Annabeth the New York Sirens. The Toronto Scepters. Ooh, Scepters. That could be Nico because they was all about getting the scepter. And then the Ottawa Charge and the Minnesota Frost. Ottawa Charge feels like lightning, so that could be like Jason. And then the Minnesota Frost. I don't know if anyone has cold powers that we like. It's only Keone. Minnesota Frost. But
I think you could throw Coach in, and Coach would be Charge.
Okay.
Just because like he
Charge.
charged. Yeah. And then just give Jason Frost because he's the last one and we don't.
Okay, cool. That works. Yeah, multiple people asked that, so it's fun. Some people also had some Rex. So should I do like, we got time for like one more. Let's go with this one from Cameron. Hi, Mike. First, thank you for creating such a great, fun show. My Nana is the one who got me into Percy Jackson / Heroes of Olympus as a kid. She and I would dissect chapters in a very similar way that you do. Listening to the show brings back some of my best memories with her, as she now suffers from late-stage Alzheimer's dementia. So thank you for giving me a way to keep our best memories close at heart. Now I'm a careworn student-athlete at a university a couple hours away, and definitely not using the show as a way to procrastinate for one of my finals tomorrow. Good luck. Where you at, Cameron? What's the final in?
Rule geography.
In what kind of geography?
Rule geography.
Rule geography? Rural. Oh, sorry, I'm in the South.
Yeah.
My apologies. Good luck. You can do it. I listened to the show on a lot of my runs, and that got me thinking about what sports our main 7 and others would play. Would love to hear your take. So if people are playing sports, what are they going to do? Percy has to be a basketball boy because I love him, and I feel like he talks about it enough, and one day there will be some more basketball in these books. I can feel it.
Leo is esports.
Oh, that is correct. That is correct. Jason is football, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. I could see Piper being in a solo sport, like one where, because I feel like she's when it's Piper narrative chapter, she's always like thinking really deeply. So I could see her doing something where you feel like really hone in and focus, like a golf or an archery or something. We feel like really.
I think archery for sure.
Yeah.
Annabeth, I think curling.
Oh.
The strategy in
the
curling.
one who yells like,
yeah. Stop. Yeah.
Hold. Yeah. Hard. Yeah.
Oh. I mean, coach baseball.
Got it. You got it. You absolutely got to. Yeah. That's good. That's fun. Okay, we'll end with this one. Is it Luthien?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. They ask, I have loved the Percy Jackson books for 17 years, and rereading the series this year has shown me how much I've changed in the years between Heroes of Olympus's release in the 2010s and now. Since you're reading the series for the first time, is there anything about yourself that has changed since starting The Lightning Thief to now? Or maybe ways that you've noticed the characters have changed from Percy Jackson and the Olympians to Heroes of Olympus? I'm so glad to be here tonight. I never knew there were so many local Percy fans. Yeah, everybody become friends with each other. It's the best. All these people like at least 2 things. They like Percy Jackson and this podcast. Unless someone really is taking hate listening to another level where they're giving me money.
I will tell you, I know for a fact that there are people in this audience that
Hate me?
Oh, no. that only found out about this podcast because of this live show.
What? How? What happened?
I got into the show because of the books, and then I saw you on Instagram.
Oh.
With Rick saying I love Trans Icon.
Oh, the Trans Icon Blackjack thing just made it into your feed.
Yeah, and I was
Yes.
like, this is incredible because I made it my New Year's goal for this year to reread all 15.
It's your New Year's goal to read all the main 15 books.
Yeah, and so I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh, cool. This is awesome. Wow, amazing. Well, this is so cool. As far as changes between me from now or the characters from now, or for you as well, I think one big change, if I just think of like the way that I made the podcast early on versus now, is I was very clearly in the coming off of how Potterless ended, because I came from like things are bad and, if an author saying bad things, where I feel like I was like a little too hard. What it really was I just liked everything about the books, and I felt like I needed to find something negative, so it wasn't just me being like, this is awesome, this is great, this book is good. Like, so I felt like early on I was really stretching, and I think I was also coming from J.K. Rowling world where I was like a little too overly sensitive about like certain words and stuff, and then also he was talking about like ADHD and dyslexia and disability and like things that I don't have as much experience with, so I was like really trying just to make sure I wasn't stepping on toes. So it was good to have those early episodes where I like brought people on to tell me about stuff and having people email in, so that was good. I also obviously am in a very different walk of life of like not dad versus dad, but I think in general I've just kind of like chilled out a little bit, and my priorities have just kind of focused more in on like the important things in life, and just like really trying to focus and optimize towards enjoying the ride of this weird thing as much as possible. I need to get around to posting them, but I used to like when I would go on tours and stuff, I would do all these like behind the scenes videos, and I would do like tour vlogs and all this stuff and like put them together and everything. And now I don't like film all this behind the scenes stuff because I really just try to enjoy the shows itself. There's so many things that go into doing these shows, and like my brain is in so many places at once that sometimes like by the end of the night I will just be like drained and didn't have any fun, and then my friends who were either like on the show or doing the merch table or whatever like left having so much more fun. I'm like, why is everyone having more fun than me? Like, I know that I'm working, but like this. So I've tried really hard to just like do certain things with going into it just to like try to enjoy the ride of it more. So I think the biggest change is I recognize that I'm in a very cool position with a cool job, and I'm very fortunate, and I'm just trying to do everything I can to just like really appreciate what I have in terms of this and the community and everyone here, and like how cool and weird this cool weird thing is.
Yeah. I mean, for me, because in both of these series, and we've known each other now for
Quite some time.
It's quite some time. End of 2017, early 2018.
Yeah, coming up on like 10 years.
sure, in that time, I have changed dramatically as a person. I was into both of these things for years and years before that. And so going from being a kid, having my grandfather read me the Harry Potter series through for the first time, to then picking up the Percy Jackson books as they started coming out and reading them on my own, I am nowhere near the same human that I was then. Yeah. And I know we've talked about this a lot, and even between when we started working together on things, we have also had those conversations about like how different getting into Rick's work was, especially where we were coming from.
100%. It's way better.
Oh, so great. Isn't he amazing? Anyways.
So much less stress.
I am a completely different human than I was in so many ways. And I think some of it because of these two books. Yeah. Some of
book series, like the first one and the second one.
Some of the people who are closest to me and that I talk to daily are people that I met because of Wizard Rock or because of Percy Jackson camp stuffs. Dude. And so it's like, I am not only a completely different human, but everyone that like surrounds me in my day-to-day life is from fandom, I think. And so like, these books completely have a different meaning to them now. And there's some notes that I want to share with you later about like how me processing this now is just so different.
Very fun. I love it. On that very wholesome note, we'll end our show. That is our show. Thank you all so much for coming. This is absolutely delightful. You were a great Kyle. This is a great way to end this little run of shows that I've been doing. Give it up to Kevin for being an incredible guest. Give it up to Kevin for running the merch table. Give it up to everyone here at the Poorhouse, from sound to tech to organizing things before. Everything was such a smooth process, so shout out to the whole Poorhouse team. And of course, shout out to Kelly for watching the baby so that we could do the show and making this all possible. I really appreciate it. This was such a delight. You all were great. I cannot wait to return to Raleigh for another show in the future. But until then, I'll see you later. Thanks so much for coming out, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Newest Olympian. This podcast is created, hosted, and produced by me, Mike Schubert. I also run the social media and the website. Our editor is Sherry Guo. The music is by Bettina Campamanes and Brandon Grubel, and the art is by Jessica E. Boyd. If you just cannot get enough of the show, there's a couple of different things that you can do. First off, you can find us on social media. We're at Newest Olympian on Instagram and other places, but Instagram's where we're most active. You can also support the show on Patreon. TheNewestOlympian.com/Patreon is where you get access to bonus episodes, director's commentaries, behind-the-scenes looks in the pod, as well as our Discord. It's a phenomenal community with lots of wonderful TNO listeners. You can get access to that. The TNO Patreon is also where you can get live show replays and other digital goodies. But you can also go to thenewsolympian.com/merch to rep the show with some physical and digital merch as well. Speaking of the Patreon, let's give a shout out to our producer level patrons in the Olympic court level of the Patreon. So shout out to Kelsey Gillespie, Vicky Garcia, Frida, Megan Moon, Polly Burge, Nikki Harris, Tatiana Schmidt, Sam Reeby, Mrs. O'Leary, Milo Kim, Sandkoff, Rayla Matthews, Sky Mallory, Mick Walters, Grace, Bradimus Prime, Skylar Sisters, Scott Sheldon, Ann M. Thayer Cohen, Bella, Percy Jack's Son, Kit Kat Crumbs, Andrea, not Andrea, Terry Rothfuzz, Certified Ghost King's Emotional Support Friend, Lee Hartley, Marco Redhouse, and Raccoon Moon 149. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, word of mouth is huge, goes a long way for podcast growth. So you could talk about the show with someone directly, you could post about it on social media, you could leave us a rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using. All these things really do help. I appreciate anyone who has done it in the past or will do it in the future. But I'm just so thankful that you tuned into this episode, and I hope you tune into our next episode where we'll be joined by Paul Kayola to break down chapters 43 through 45 of The House of Hades. Not live! It's our first studio recording for House of Hades. But until then, I'll see you later. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, ASMR Mix. So this morning I went to the park with the baby and we just sat on a bench and took in the sights and the sounds, including some birds chirping. So I'm going to play those birds chirping, and that'll be our ASMR Mix segment. Thank you so much for listening.